Someone you care about, someone you might even love, is sad. They're angry, they're upset about something, they're telling you about a problem.
But you don't really have a clue what to say, how to be there for them, how to help them out. Many of us can get lost when we're put in a situation like this. I absolutely used to. So in this video, I'm going to break down what we can say to help people out and to be there for them in these kinds of times of need, as well as why fixing their problem might actually be a lot worse than we might think.
Oh Lord, it's good to be here with you, Mr. O'Brien.
A few years back, I had a friend that had recently gone through a breakup, and when I asked him to hang out, he mentioned it to me. This is when I learnt of it, and he seemed pretty upset about it. So I wanted to help him out somehow. I didn't really know what to say, other than that sucks or hey, I've been there before. I did this and this worked for me. You should try it too.
I used to get stuck in situations like this with no clue what to do other than to provide solutions. That's what I was taught anyways. I thought that was the right thing to do. And this is something I get a lot of emails about, which is I have a friend, I have a family member, I have a partner who's upset. How do I help them? When we try to solve problems, we might not realize what we're doing.
Usually, as soon as someone tells us about something, we don't even understand that whole thing in the first place. So what was I doing trying to fix the problem? I didn't even know what was going on. When people came to me with their problems, I wouldn't acknowledge the things they said to me, validate their feelings. I would just try to fix the issue or tell them what I thought of it.
And so we can unintentionally come off as distracted, inconsiderate, apathetic, and we don't want to do that. Of course not. And if you're someone who does this, I am probably going to be the first person to tell you it's not your fault, because how could you have possibly known that this is not the right way to do it? No one told you. No one told me.
It wasn't until I started actually practicing listening consistently, that's when I realized that if we listen well, it can actually be better than straight up telling someone the perfect solution to their problems.
But what do they want? Right? Why don't they just tell us, please don't fix my problem, do this instead? There's definitely something unique and powerful about having a good ear. Sometimes we come to others not because our problems feel unsolvable, not because the problem has a solution that's somewhere out there and someone else might know it, especially if we're not specifically asking for a solution. Maybe we already know what to do, but we're not sure if we can do it. Maybe we know that there is nothing that can be done.
Sometimes we're just looking for some kind of solace, some kind of clarity, some kind of emotional validation.
And I'll tell you what, a lot of the time, I don't realize this when I tell someone about an issue I'm having, that all I really want is them to hear me out.
There are plenty of studies out there that show that talking to someone who is good at listening about our problems can improve our mood and mental health. And that's part of the reason why I really enjoy teaching people active listening, because it is a real skill that you can train.
Carl Rogers, the father of active listening, has a quote here, and I think it's very relevant. When a person realizes he has been deeply heard, his eyes moisten. I think in some real sense he is weeping for joy. It is as though he is saying, thank God, somebody heard me. Somebody knows what it's like to be me. And I think that's what we want in a person when we share our feelings, when we share our problems, our disappointments, our whatever. We just want them to understand what it's like to be us. We don't want to be alone. That being said, solutions and giving people real advice is absolutely valid a lot of the time. Absolutely. So what do we actually do instead? How do we show someone that we're trying to understand what it's like to be them?
First, I had to change something in my brain that was wrong, a myth. And that was that hearing was the same as listening. Hearing is essentially just recording in your brain what someone else is saying and nothing else beyond that. And that's where I had it wrong. My idea of listening was just pay attention to what someone's saying, don't interrupt them, and that's it. But that's kind of like talking to a computer. Listening, on the other hand, involves understanding the person talking, how they're feeling, what they're actually talking about, and proving to them that you are managing to do so. And this way of listening can actually encourage people to be more open, to be more trusting of you, and to feel better afterwards. I had to get around my head the fact that good listening involved me saying some things as well, some very particular things. And so when someone came to me with a problem, I changed things up. I learned that I had to not just understand what this person was saying, but also show them that I understand what they are saying.
And we can do that by a few techniques that have been around for a long time. Pretty good one is paraphrasing, which is essentially hearing what someone's saying, processing it yourself, and then repeating it back to them in your own words. And what this does is this kind of checks your own understanding because you're sharing your own thought process of what's going on here. And that person can correct it. They can say, actually, this and this happened. And in the process of doing that, they're being shown, hey, this person is actually listening to me. This person is trying to understand me.
When we use this kind of reflective listening, I think this graphic does a really good job at showing us what that looks like. It can bring clarity to the conversation, and I feel it really started to validate and acknowledge the words that people were sharing with me.
Emotion labeling is a pretty good one too. There's actually a study that shows that when we name a negative emotion, part of those feelings actually soften a bit. They become less intense.
When someone's telling you about their issue, their experience, you can kind of gauge the emotion that they're experiencing. And when we get this kind of rough idea of what they may be feeling, we can share our idea with them. And this can help them feel a bit more validated. But there's an important distinction to be made here, something that I at first got wrong a few times. You can't really tell someone how they're feeling, just what it seems like to you that they're feeling.
A better way is to check.
A good way to remember is that you don't tell people how they're feeling, but what it sounds like to you.
In my experience, it does really help to get into those specific feelings a bit more. Because when I say angry, that's a huge spectrum of emotions. But when I say that must have felt very unjustified, that's a very specific feeling, and that can help you understand it quite a bit more.
Something important I think that needs to be remembered by everyone watching this video is that we can't always help someone. And it can be painful sometimes, but we need to accept that. A major problem that many people have is that actually learning listening and making it a part of your life is kind of hard, even though it's a really important skill to have. So I made a system that turns active listening from just a cool little tip or trick into a real, tangible, second nature skill. Watch this video here if you're interested in asking really good questions that people love to answer. And before I go, remember to take out any frozen meat that you might have forgotten about. Okay, bye.